Welcome to GOLT Talk, your podcast for technology and innovation in the legal profession. If you're searching for solutions to revolutionize your legal practice, you're in the right place. 10 minutes pure, actionable product insights from CEOs shaping the future of legal technology. And here is your host, Pfennig.
Welcome to GOLT Talk, everybody, your podcast for technology and innovation in the legal profession. Here you get 10 minutes pure, actionable product insights from CEOs shaping the future of legal technology. It is my distinct privilege and pleasure to introduce Rohan George, CEO of Ad Idem, headquartered South India in Chennai, close to the sea, and this is a global podcast. So welcome, Rohan.
Thank you very much, Thomas. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for taking the time. We are introducing your product today. Before we do that, we introduce you briefly. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Thomas. I've been a lawyer for the last 20 years, of which I spent the last 10 or so years as a partner with a law firm in the law firm. And I've had the fortune to be able to be involved in a diversity of legal practices in dispute resolution, in technology advisory, in intellectual property prosecution, as well as in data privacy advisory. That's enabled me to see the legal practice from a larger perspective and understand that some of the problems which we face and the inefficiencies we face cut across practice areas. I'm also a huge nerd, and I've always been fond of working with computing, and I've been excited about the possibilities of technology and its transformation on the legal industry. I didn't really see the possibilities of that until recently with the sort of chat GPT aha moment that I suppose many of the people you've spoken to have had, where inadvertently I ended up drafting a first draft technology transfer agreement in about 45 minutes to an hour using a simple conversational interface with ChatGPT. I realized that with a little refinement, this is a draft that I could share with the client as a first draft. And I realized also that I was working with the Swiss Army knife of large language model technology. Therefore, the most universally acceptable application of it. And the thing which I imagined immediately was that if this Swiss Army knife could help me build a technology transfer agreement, imagine what would happen if we built scalpels for our profession. Because ultimately we are professionals. We have very specialized use cases and we have very specialized requirements from these use cases. That's sort of the start of my journey as far as Ad Idem was concerned. I had the fortune to meet a developer. His name is Adarsh Sosale, and he is my co-founder, and he has a background in natural language processing, enterprise search, and machine learning, and has a significant amount of interest in being able to upgrade the legal profession's engagement with technology as well. Together, we see ourselves as being able to provide a synergy, which is more than something that only a group of technologists or lawyers could bring in terms of depth to legal tech solutions and products. So that's a bit about myself.
Wonderful. Let's speed up a little and really talk about Ad Idem, which obviously is AI in a longer version. And I learned that it means in agreement. So tell us a little bit about the unique selling point of Ad Idem and the use cases that you're serving with the product.
Yes, I'll be happy to talk about that. At the moment, we're building out the Ad Idem dispute intelligence platform. In furtherance of our thesis of building specialized tools, our platform is very focused on solving problems regarding disputes. And the unique selling point of our platform is that we have built it out using not just large language models, but a complex framework which combines large language models in terms of the advantages they provide with semantic search and other algorithms which combine into what you would probably today call an agentic framework, but we didn't know what it was called at that particular point in time. In order to do a group of things, we follow the thesis of how a human lawyer engages the disputes case file. We begin with the process of getting a high-level overview of the dispute case file, not from any one document, but from the entire case file itself, or 300 to 500 to 1,000 pages of it. We then get into detailed summaries of the dispute, specific documents in the dispute, and also other analysis and identifications basically focus on the dispute itself. We retain those summaries And we use our semantic search and agentic frameworks in order to allow a lawyer to engage in extremely precise drafting. We are using language directly from the case file and inspired by the case file in our drafting tasks. And we use a very different approach to drafting, which is at this moment patent pending, to be honest, which allows for a much finer grained control over litigation drafting tasks than existing models do. And finally, what we'd like to do is take the capabilities of AI beyond the ability to analyze a document or even a dispute to the organizational level and be able to provide insights to the general counsel of an organization, for example, about their organization's entire disputes portfolio. So for instance, if you are about a product liability company and you would be interested in knowing about, let's say, for example, the level of your mobile phones, which are facing difficulties in a particular district, you would be able to analyze the disputes history of your company and be able to get that information instantly. So yes, the USP of our model is on its reliance on semantic search, as well as its ability to go beyond merely disputes, case files, or individual documents and provide insights into the entire organization's disputes portfolio.
And just to repeat what I heard, the drafting part is based upon the knowledge generated out of the document analysis. And when you talk about drafting, it is complaints, replies. What kind of documents are being drafted with the Ad Idem software?
That's a good question, Tom. At this particular point, we have built out focused workflows on executive summaries, notes for discussion, the actual pleading itself, that is the brief, the replies to the brief, rejoinders to replies, and we built out specialized workflows. So we try not to send the user into a rabbit hole of prompt engineering in order to draft. We rely on our systems in order to give that polished output to the user and allow them to just choose what they want as the type of output they'd like.
Okay, very good. That takes us to partners and competitors, second part of our podcast. Give us some insights there, please.
As far as partners or at least allies are concerned, we've had great experiences working with a bunch of organizations in the space. One I'd like to call out is CounselEct, which is an offshoot of Bahura, have given us advice, have helped us work with clients, and have basically helped us with useful information and input on building out the product. The other group which I would like to say is it has been a key ally of ours has been Agami, an organization which has been focused on access to justice and which has helped us to showcase our product to key members of the judiciary and other forums as well, who could really see benefit in a dispute streamlining software. Of course, our pilot customers, amongst others, CAD or ODR, are being the key allies in this regard as well. And they are an online dispute resolution platform, which, as you can imagine, is another aspect of the future of legal technology. This is another example of startups helping startups where, they see the potential and they were one of the earliest adopters of our technology. And we hope that we've seen them actually benefiting significantly from accelerating their dispute comprehension for their arbitrators and getting to the point of writing the award within like 2/3 of the time which they were ordinarily have taken. So if it were taking them 6 months, they're able to get to that point in about 4 months' time.
Very good. And competitors in these categories, who would you call out there?
So I would say that there are two types of competitors we've identified. One is, of course, traditional case management organizations, and they have built out sophisticated case management and understanding dashboards. We see those as mostly being couched in the earlier philosophy of SaaS, and we see ourselves as being able to provide a significant value add over those because our focus is not merely on the formal information about the case, but about the actual substance of the case dispute itself. The level of depth and analysis we can provide is significantly higher. The other competitor we consider to be important are, without having to put a negative term on it, generic, but nevertheless in a good way, generic legal AI organizations, like for example, Harvey and Robin AI. We've seen that they have captured a significant amount of the mental space, the mind space, so to speak, around legal technology. And we've had a couple of GCs saying, why should we take your system up when we have an option like Harvey? My answer to this is very often that Harvey, for instance, and or Robin AI, a lot of these are incrementally helpful to multiple functions in a legal organization. And there is no doubt a significant amount of value in that. But we don't do that. We're not interested in doing that. We are interested in being transformative of one particular function. That is your disputes function. And that's how we see ourselves as different from our existing competitors as well.
Very good. On the document management system side, particularly given that you are in India, can you give us some names of competitors in that space in your jurisdiction, please?
Yes, the case management system side, Absolutely. There are organizations like Provakil, there are organizations like Mike Legal, there's Volodi, there's Legistify. There is a fair number of different organizations. I would name these as being interesting and relevant players in the space. But case management has been something which has been built out, I would say, over the course of the last 7 to 8 years or so. And the overlays and the dashboards sometimes show that, they have that legacy of that tech.
Very good. So let's move on to cost and implementation effort of Ad Idem.
So as far as implementation globally is concerned, we have built out our system with zero training in India's specific laws or legal jurisdiction. We have built it out on an abstract understanding of a dispute workflow itself. And on some level, disputes workflows, when you abstract them sufficiently, are universal. So implementation globally works the same way. As far as the language models are concerned, our focus is entirely on English, because we find that the best models which we work with a lot of open source models, and we find that those work best in English. And we wouldn't use a translation model until we have reached that point of confidence that the legal documentation being translated is being translated with a maximum level of accuracy. So we focus on English from that perspective. We are able to, because of our architecture, which relies on A, our semantic search algorithms, B, our own embedding models, proprietary embedding models, and C, open source large language models for the most part. As a result, we're able to deploy on our own AWS server, on the customer's own server, or on an on-premises solution based on what the customer feels is on the spectrum between cost and security, which they want to try and address.
And in terms of the time frame, Rohan, what would you estimate does it take to get Ad Idem up and running?
So in terms of time frame, one of the first things, in order to analyze a specific case and in order to understand the details of a specific case, a customer can start immediately. They merely have to upload their case file documentation to our server, and we will give them an analysis within about 5 to 10 minutes. But to really see the benefits of our system, to get the depth of benefits of our system, we would expect the customer to upload the key cases of their dispute portfolio itself, their dispute history, because then our system is able to understand the interlinkages within those, to identify patterns which are in common between a group of, say, for example, product liability cases, or for example, recovery of money cases, and identify spikes in those patterns which are unique. The analogy I provide is that, yes, a lot of large language model, a lot of legal AI providers allow you to get started right away by just typing into the box and asking a query. The level of depth, I would say, that is comparable to, if one of us were to be approached at a cocktail party with a legal query, we would give that level of depth. But for real legal advice, that same person would have to come back to us, to our office, share those relevant documents with us, and wait until we give them a detailed and structured level of depth. So to directly answer your question, Thomas, I would say an organization would need about a month for us to work with them in order to tune out the disputes analysis and the pattern recognition model. But the case file analysis is something which someone can start with on day zero and get going from that point on.
And now, lastly, per license or per upload, how do you calculate that?
So at this particular point, we see the potential of this technology as being able to do the work of maybe 5 lawyers within the scope of 1 lawyer, and potentially more as time develops. So we do not see the value in providing user-based licensing or user-based subscriptions. Our focus is then on the number of case files that the organization wishes to have analyzed and to identify patterns in. And our entire costing is based on the number of case files itself. So hypothetically, if an organization were to upload about 100 case files onto our system, it would probably be somewhere in the vicinity of about $1,000 a month. But as I mentioned earlier, Tom, we are a baby organization. We have many price experiments, and we are hoping to be able to find one which works best for the customer. So we'll constantly be updating that model in response to the market at any point.
Just to summarize the last part though, because it is a very attractive price point, if I may say so, calculating the example that you just gave down to 1 case file, it would end up in the $10+ per analysis range, correct?
That's right, correct.
That's a point of information. Rohan K. George, CEO and founder of Ad Idem, based in Chennai, southern India. It's been a pleasure having you on the global GOLT Talk podcast, Rohan. Thank you for your time and all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tom. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye.